Well, the Tyre Nichols case has spawned a whole bunch of reactions and new policies that are only going to make things worse for black people in this country. In this video, I'm going to explain why. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
All right, here's an opinion piece by Patrick Gaspard, and it states, 3 black leaders offer one practical solution, oh yeah, real practical, to reduce police assaults on black motorists. Okay, here we go. The Department of Justice announced last week that it will review the use of force by the Memphis Police Department. Okay. They're really after the white dude. There's a white cop that they really want convicted real badly. They're going to review this to see if they can pin something on him. It also plans to examine the operations of specialized police units, such as the one responsible for killing Tyre Nichols. The decision by federal authorities to launch a probe into the events that led to Nichols' killing is welcome news. We can't afford to wait for the investigation's results, however, to fix a problem that endangers black lives every day: needless traffic stops. It's not the traffic stops that are causing the problem, it's how they react to them. As 3 black men, we know firsthand the worry of whether the everyday act of driving will end in tragedy for ourselves, our brothers and sisters, or nieces and nephews and children, just as it did for Nichols. Look, this is getting tiresome, all right? You have nothing to worry about. If the police hit the reds and blues on you while you're driving, you pull over and you just take your ticket, like millions of black people do every year in this country. They get ticketed, they don't get shot. There's no reason for you to get shot either. I don't know what happened with Tyre. However, he was not complying, okay? If he had put his arms behind his back, he probably would still be alive. And that's not to say that he deserved what happened to him. However, what happened to him would not have happened if he had just been a little bit more reasonable when the police confronted him. Now, again, I'm not saying that he deserved a beating, but the point is here is, what happened to Tyre Nichols is not going to happen to you if you just be a little smart about things. You know, I get pulled over once in a while, well, not too often, but, you know, when the officer comes up, I hand him my driver's license and my registration and my insurance and basically keep my mouth shut. And if he says, get out of the car, well, all right, I'll get out of the car. That's the law. And if you just be a rational, sensible person, this won't happen to you. Again, I would say 99% of black people that get pulled over behave perfectly fine. Okay, it's the 1% that come out and do stupid shit, get themselves shot, and make everybody thinks that this happens to everybody. No, it doesn't. It only happens to the very select few people who act like imbeciles when they are pulled over by the cops. And as leaders of 3 of the nation's largest organizations committed to criminal and racial justice, we understand that there are concrete steps we can take to enact policies that make traffic stops safer for our families and for all black Americans. Sounds good. Okay, let's read what those policies are. Statistics show just how dangerous driving while black can be. It's not driving while black. It's being an idiot when the police confront you. That's the behavior that's causing these problems. Sometimes the cops are at fault. They don't de-escalate like they should. But whatever the case, the real culprit is behavior. It's not race. Traffic stops are one of the most common ways police encounter the public. Well, that's true. Police make 20 million stops each year, according to research. Black motorists are less likely than white drivers to possess illegal items such as drugs or weapons. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. but they are stopped more often, and after a traffic stop, they are more likely to be searched. Yeah, something funny going on with the statistics there. Of the more than 1,000 people killed by police each year, 10% involved traffic stops. Frankly, I'm surprised it's not higher. Why? Well, when you confront the police, you're typically either A, in your home or in your car. I mean, ultimately, that's when the police encounter you. So it's hardly surprising that a large percentage of the times when you get shot, it's when you're in your car. The most common stated reasons for a traffic stop? One study found that nearly half were for minor issues, such as broken taillight, a defective or missing license plate. Defective license plate? Okay. Or tinted windows. Why is this the work of armed police officers? Okay, they're not getting killed because they have a broken taillight. They're getting pulled over because of a broken taillight. And you know what? You hand them your driver's license and you get a little ticket, probably a fix-it ticket, really. Usually it's no big deal. What really happens? The person driving has a felony warrant. That is the problem. So they're going to run his license number and it's going to come back that he's going to go to jail. But he doesn't want to go to jail. And so he pulls a gun and he gets shot. Okay, and so how is it publicized? Black man shot over a taillight. No, that's not what happened at all. Come on. This is where we have to be a little mature, okay? Quit falling for these media propaganda tricks. And why is this the work of armed police officers? Because it's a dangerous activity. You see a person driving around and they've got a broken taillight, it's not necessarily the safest thing to do to pull them over. Because again, you don't know what that person's hiding, and he may be wanted. And why is he being pulled over? Well, part of it is for the broken taillight, but part of it also is this is how you pick up people with warrants. I will guarantee you that a very large percentage of the people they pick up on active warrants occur through traffic stops. Remember Timothy McVeigh? He killed so many people in Oklahoma City that one time, blowing up that building. How was he caught? A traffic stop. He got pulled over for what? Defective license plate. So you see? And he was white. Don't be fooled into thinking that those 20 million stops are at all necessary, targeted efforts to deliver safety. Traffic stops are a major moneymaker, and black people know this. Well, I see. So white people don't, I guess. Some towns and cities generate at least 10% of their annual budgets from traffic stop revenue. It's quite a bit less for most cities, but that's not the reason why the cops are pulling them over, okay? I realize that people have this whole quota thing going, but the average police officer doesn't care about that. He's wanting to pull people over to check them for warrants. So they run these sweeps through the rough neighborhoods. Look, I mean, if it was about money, they'd be pulling rich people over all the time. You can get money out of them. You pull over some dude from the ghetto who has nothing, and you're probably not going to get anything. If anything, you're going to be probably paying for his food for a month. But if you pull over rich white people, your chances of making money are a lot better. However, that's not what's happening. What's happening is that the police patrol rough neighborhoods, especially at night, because that's when all the bad guys show up and they have warrants on them. And for some reason, they run around with defective license plates and broken taillights and everything else because they're kind of stupid. If you have warrants out on you, don't have anything wrong with your car. But you know what? They didn't get to where they are by being smart. And I know the common response is that, well, why do they pick on these guys so much? Look, they're trying to protect the community. A person who has felony warrants out on him could be a very dangerous person, and he's running around in that neighborhood. he could hurt people, and therefore to make the neighborhood safer, it's a good idea to run sweeps, pull people over for minor infractions, and check to see if they're being wanted by the law. So you run through, you pick up a whole bunch of bad people, and you throw them in jail where they can't hurt anyone. Traffic stops are poor tools for fighting crime and make the roadways markedly less safe for black drivers. Markedly less. Really? What percentage of all traffic stops involving black people end up with them being hurt? 0.01%? 0.001%? I mean, come on. Black people in this country and law enforcement come into contact entirely too often. Well, if you commit crime, yeah, you're going to come into contact with law enforcement. Changing the way traffic stops happen in this nation is foundational to any discussion about police reform. Oh, this ought to be good. States and localities have an important role to play by passing laws and ordinances to end or at least limit the use of traffic stops for low-level issues that do not affect safety, such as a broken taillight or tinted windows. Wait, broken taillights don't affect safety? Interesting. I thought that we put taillights on cars for safety reasons. What about brake lights? Do we also allow people to just drive around with no brake lights? I mean, how far are you willing to go? What about registration? I mean, are we just no longer going to require people to register their cars? What about insurance? Are we no longer going to require insurance? They don't have to have a driver's license anymore? I mean, I thought that we were a nation founded by laws. We have rules. You have to follow them. And this whole idea that, well, let's just stop pulling people over for things. Well, then why register your car? Why get a driver's license? Following Nichols' death, the Memphis City Council acquiesced to public demands and took a step in the right direction by considering an ordinance that will redirect police away from low-level traffic stops. Okay, so all of those with felony warrants, you can breathe easy now. You are out on bail for armed robbery and you didn't show up to court and they can't find you. Well, this is good news for you. They're far less likely now to capture you. So you're free to go out and commit another armed robbery. But no city or state should wait until a tragedy occurs or they're under the scrutiny of media attention before acting. Hey, I hope my home state of Oklahoma doesn't fall for this crap. Hey, you drive around with broken taillights, I want you to be pulled over. I don't want you necessarily to get a ticket. I would much prefer that the police say, hey, here's a fix-it ticket. You need to go down, get it fixed, have it checked off by an LEO. That's fine. But, I mean, we have rules. I have to keep my taillights working. Everybody should. Some states have adopted or are considering similar policies, including Virginia, Oregon, and Washington. Yeah, those are great examples that we should follow on how to deal with criminals. Oh, good grief. As well as cities of Philadelphia. Yeah, whatever Philadelphia is doing, don't do it. Do something else. It may sound very reasonable. It's not. It's Philadelphia. Jeez. Meanwhile, prosecutors in Minnesota, oh yeah, there's another great example. Michigan and Vermont have found law enforcement practices resulting from traffic stops so gratuitously harmful that they have refused to charge cases that emerge from them. So, you just do whatever the hell you like. Don't have a driver's license? Oh, well, okay. Well, sorry. No insurance? Well, we can't do anything about that. I mean, we got to let him go. If he hits some kid, well, that's just too bad. Traffic stops have proven to be deadly from coast to coast. No, the traffic stops are not the deadly part. It's the behavior of the person getting pulled over. I'm telling you. But waiting for municipalities to solve the problem means that black Americans living in these cities and states could be vulnerable at any time they decide to travel. Oh, give me a break. Oh. So, Oklahoma City, for example, if you're a black person, you could be vulnerable if you go through Oklahoma City. Come on. Black people travel through Oklahoma City all the time, thousands of them every day. Nothing happens to them. You know who's vulnerable? I'll tell you who's vulnerable, okay? It's the elderly black people living in the community that are threatened by gangs and just overall thugs, okay? Dangerous people who are not picked up on their warrants because nobody's pulling people over anymore. So they can't go to the store because they could get assaulted. How is that fair? When you pull people over late at night, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you got a muffler hanging, dragging, and you pull them over, you're protecting the community because the person behind the wheel might be a really bad dude. And guess what? When these things turn violent, it almost 99% of the time, the person behind the wheel is a bad dude. And I do not feel sorry for them one bit if they get their asses shot off. Sorry. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, or I never could figure out how to pronounce that name, should instruct his department to disperse safety grants to localities that limit low-level traffic stops and rely on traffic enforcement methods other than police, including civilian traffic professionals who can address road safety issues without the intimidation, possible danger of a badge and a gun. You know what? What about the gun that the person behind the wheel is carrying? That's not an issue for them. Okay? And here we have the long arm of the federals telling the states how to handle their traffic police. Sorry, that is bullshit. We don't need to take guidance from the feds on how to handle our police departments, especially since it's the Oregons and the Phillies and the Washingtons that are leading the way. Right. Yeah, great examples. States and cities can also eliminate the basis for millions of traffic stops in the first place by offering vouchers for free repairs and services to motorists to fix broken taillights. Let me translate that. When some dude has a broken taillight, I get to pay for it. No, come on. It's his taillight. He can fix it. Replace a defective or missing license plate, or renew a lapsed registration. Several counties and cities have launched these kinds of programs, including Long Island's Suffolk County, Long Island, New York City, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Yeah, there's also a very peaceful place. None of these reforms require more policing or funding for police. They would all increase safety in black communities. No, that is not true. That are over-policed, yet underserved. Oh, geez. By patrolling those areas, the police are serving the community. They're looking for bad people. And I've said it before. I mean, look, if you don't like the police patrolling your neighborhood, then fine. The police simply can just stay the hell out of there. And they would be the first to complain. We're not being served. Well, which is it? In truth, if you're a peace-loving black family, you're living in a neighborhood, the police patrolling are for your benefit. Police funding can go toward investigating and resolving real crimes, rather than undermining the legitimacy of law enforcement in our communities. Undermining the legitimacy of law enforcement? No, you guys are the ones that are doing that, okay? And as far as resolving real crimes, a person out on a felony warrant for armed robbery has committed a real crime. He hasn't shown up in court. He's on the loose, and he's probably dangerous. And you're saying, well, we shouldn't go after him. I mean, he's probably not at the address that the court has. You're going to probably pick him up because he's driving around. And you're saying, let him go. We as a society must stop incentivizing police departments to conduct traffic enforcement on what amounts to low-level offenses. We must not wait until the next tragedy to take action on these concrete steps forward. That is the best way to honor Tyre Nichols and countless others, whatever. Hey, you know what? This whole thing about it's just a minor crime, so let them get away with it? Gee, where have we seen that before? Oh, yeah. Hordes of young people going into pharmacies and just raiding them, stealing everything in sight. That's what the writers of this article want. They want no repercussions for anything they deem as no big deal. And no big deal means that, well, it's the people that own Walgreens that are really harmed, so I don't see any problem with stealing. Yeah, tell that to the people who work there, who finally got a job. They probably worked hard to try to get the job. They finally got it, and they lose it because why? People come in and steal everything inside, and they are all for it. They just basically want these young black kids to get away with anything, but it's not fair to the other people in the community. Most of them are people of color. So this is another bird-brained idea that's just going to lead to more crime. Tell me what you think. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.